Okay, and we are in session 2. We're going to just hit head on, just to start it off, with one of the most controversial subjects in the lexicon here. And we're going to talk about this thing which in Greek is called the harpazo, and it's commonly called the rapture. And candidly, it's the most preposterous doctrine in evangelical Christianity. Bizarre, strange viewpoint. It really is. We need to just acknowledge, independent of how we feel about it, we should just acknowledge it is a strange perception. So we want to hit that head on and talk about it. And I like to just admit to ourselves, it's a strange doctrine. And when we travel, speak at other churches, I usually find out in advance what the pastor's attitude is. And if he's not comfortable with that, I don't even get into that subject. Just not because I don't want to leave the wake of confusion behind me. But at the same time, it is, in this case, of course, we should hit it head on and talk about it. We want to talk about the scriptural basis. Where does this idea come from? It wasn't cooked up by some internet blogs. This goes way back. And so we want to talk about the scriptural basis of it. We'll talk about some alternative views about it. So explore that. And we're going to talk about a doctrine you don't find explicitly pronounced that way, but it is a prevalent doctrine among many, called the doctrine of imminence. What does that mean? We'll get into that. And it may surprise you that I'm going to show you what I suspect are allusions to this in the Old Testament. Even among most conservative scholars, I would say Dallas Theological Seminary or wherever, will argue that the rapture, and they're very pro-rapture about it, but they argue it doesn't show up in the Old Testament. And I'm going to let you come to your own conclusions by showing you 3 passages in the Old Testament. You decide. Isn't that Fox News always say? We report and you decide. Well, we'll do that with some of these issues. So let's go to the rapture, and so it's obviously the most preposterous belief of biblical Christianity. And so the word is actually not rapture. That comes from the Latin, but it's harpazo in the Greek. The word means to be forcibly caught up and taken out. And that's what's emphasized in the Greek term. We're going to talk about the promise of it. We'll talk about the process by which it occurs and what the purpose of it is. And we'll collectively call that the blessed hope. That's what Titus, in the book of Titus, does. We'll talk about its prophetic profile, and we'll talk about problems. And those of you that are seminary trained know it must be true because this alliterative. You know, if you're a graduate from seminary, your points in your sermon always have to start with the same letter, usually P's or S's because it's easier. But I always needle my seminary friends that way. This must be true because there's alliteration. And but the Jewish concept of prophecy is the pattern is prologue. And we need to really understand the Jewish mind for many reasons. Let's start with the promise of this. Believe it or not, it starts in John 14. In our study of the Gospel of John, we're going to enter that period, which is called the Upper Room Discourse, from chapters 13 to 17, the Gospel of John. An incredible segment of his total gospel devoted to that one discourse. And right in the middle of it is, of course, John 14. We'll take a look at it here. It says, "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God. Believe also in me." Wow. Then he continues, "In my Father's house are many mansions, and if it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." Really? That's what he's telling them. "And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself." Really? If you're a careful student of the Scripture, you know that's not the second coming. He comes in anger. And he's blood-stained from the blood of his enemies. Read Isaiah 63, and we will do that later. "I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also." That's an incredible promise.